ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः। In the last 10 verses, that is from the verse 13 to 23, Bhagavan Krishna said, he explained the wheel of action or the wheel of creation. The body, the physical body, is nourished by the food Anna, and the food is nourished by, produced by rain, and the rain is produced by yajna, and the yajna is performed as an action, and the action is based on the Vedas, and the Veda came from the imperishable. So any one person has to follow this wheel of creation or the wheel of action. But a yogi or a jnani, he does not have any particular action to perform. He rejoices in the self, he is content in this self, and he's established and satisfied in the self. So he does not have any particular action to do. He does not have any action to do, or he needs all that action, what he has done, he is not concerned about it. He is not dependent on any person or any object, and he is truly an independent person. But we all people, when we get our first salary or the job, we say that I am an independent person. But all the time we forget or we ignore on all the people we are dependent on. So, but a jnani is not like that. He can survive on his own, without any salary or without any food or without any people to help him. He is a truly independent person. That's the power of jnana. And he lived like that. And Lord Krishna gave two examples about this jnani who also performed the karma yoga. That is, one he gave example at Janaha, and the other he gave himself as the example. And he said, these two people, that is King Janaha or Lord Krishna, they are truly independent person. They do not have any work to do. Lord Krishna says, in this three world, I do not have any particular work to do. I do not have any unsatisfied desires, but still I do work. I work ceaselessly. I work tirelessly for the only reason for the people to follow me. I have to set an example because I have knowledge and I have to set an example. If I do not set an example by working like this, then the people will also be inactive. They also will follow me because that is the nature of the mind. It imitates the person who is powerful or who is very famous. The mind imitates that person, so they also will become inactive if I am inactive. So in spite of having knowledge, I work tirelessly. I work hard, Arjuna. And he gave himself as the example. And in these verses, that is from the verse 24, Lord Krishna says that if he doesn't work, what will happen? So let us see what Lord Krishna says. Utsideyurime lokaha na kuryang karma chedaham sangarasya cha kartasyam ubahanyami ma prajaha. Utsideyu means everything would perish. What will perish? This entire lokaha, the worlds will perish if I do not perform any action, Arjuna. Because if he does not perform any action, the people who are following him will also not perform any action. Then the whole world will go into that tamoguna inertia. If no one works, then what will happen to the economy and how will the kingdom survive? Just imagine, no one performs any work. They don't do agriculture, they don't do business or anything, no schools, nothing. Of course, we experienced all this during the period of Corona 2 years back. It's really 1.5 or 2 years. Even that time, just imagine how we suffered. The economy just went down, and still we are struggling to bring it back. Just for 2 years, it is like this. Then just imagine if it would have been like this for a long period of time, what will happen? The world will perish. If the job of the Vaisya is to do agriculture. And if he doesn't do agriculture, just imagine like that. So some other person from other varnas, they will do agriculture and they may not be skilled in that. So it will not come up well. They will not know to do the business. So like this, all the varnas will perish, everything will perish. And Lord Krishna, he says that I would be the person to initiate all this destruction, to initiate this destruction. So I don't want to be like this. Sangarasya jakarthasyam ubahanyami mam prajaha. Then I will be the first person who is the author to destroy all this world. So I have to work, and only then the people will follow me and they will also work. So that's what Lord Krishna says in this verse 24 of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Next verse he says, Saktah karmanya vidvamsah yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktah chikirshurloga sangraham. Lord Krishna says, avidvamsa. Avidvamsaka means the people who are ignorant. So the people who are ignorant, they will only perform the action attached to the action because they do not know about all this karma yoga or anything. Even if they know, they will not be in a position or they will not have the maturity of the mind to accept this concept. So let them work according to that. The person who are ignorant, let them perform the action attached to the action. Kuryat vidvan, that is a person who is wise. Let him perform the action unattached to it. So let him perform the action for the welfare of the world or for the welfare of the society or to help others who are in need or for any other purpose but not for the selfish reason. So let him, the person who is wise, let him perform the action unattached to it, unattached to the fruits of the action or unattached to the action itself. But a person who is unwise, who is ignorant, since he doesn't know about all this and he cannot grasp all these concepts, so let him do his work, do the action attached to the fruits, attached to the action itself. Let him be like that. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. Lord Krishna says, that is, a person who is ignorant, he will perform the action attached to it only because he cannot grasp this knowledge or understand it. So a wise person, he will do the action according to the karma yoga. So let the wise person do not unsettle the mind of the person who is ignorant. That is, do not force him this knowledge. He cannot accept it. Just imagine if you advise karma yoga to a top businessman in his field, what will he say? Either he will get angry or he will just reject this knowledge. Because he will say, I have invested so much in my business, how can I be like that? How can I remain unattached? But gradually, he will change his mind, but gradually his mind will mature, because it has to mature. Because this mind itself, it undergoes the process of evolution step by step. So we all will undergo this process one day or other. We will all get jnana one day or other. That's how it is created. How this world is, universe is created. So till then, the jnani, that is, or a person who is wise, should not unsettle the mind of the person who is ignorant. We have to just leave him like that. But at the same time, a person who is wise, he has to set an example to the society or to that person itself, because seeing him, how he is unattached to the action and how he remains peaceful and how he is satisfied all the time, seeing that, the ignorant person will automatically change. That's for sure. But till then, a person who is wise, he should not go and disturb him or unsettle the mind of that person by forcing this knowledge, because jnana will not come by just forcing it. That's why in some ashramas, when a student goes to study there, the teachers, that is the guru, they just see the maturity of that person, how far, whether he can understand the subtle concepts. And the guru will engage. If he is fit for that knowledge, he will give him this knowledge. Otherwise, he will make him engage in some selfless service, like cleaning the ashramas or feeding the poor people, so that his mind will become mature to grasp this knowledge. Otherwise, we feel, what is the need for all this? Why should we work like this? Can anyone work without expecting the profit? All these questions come to our mind. So one has to grasp this knowledge. They have to come forward and grasp this knowledge. This knowledge should not be forced. It will not work. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying. So at all the time, the person who is wise, he should engage in the selfless action and set an example for all the others to follow. प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. This Prakriti, it is doing all this action. Prakriti means its nature, that is, the nature itself is the combination of the three gunas, that is the sattva, rajas and tamo guna, that we have seen in the previous verse itself. In a person, one guna will be dominating, followed by the other two gunas. If you have the sattvic guna, then you always go for knowledge. We have that purity in us, that divine feeling. We feel to help others and all that good nature, that is the sattvic guna. And the rajasic guna means we'll be very active, always want to work for the result, and all that activity, concern, passion, desires, all that is rajoguna. And the tamo guna is total inertia, laziness. We always skip everything. We will say, okay, tomorrow I will see this work, and after some time when I get up, I will do it. So this is inertia and the tamo guna. In a person, all these gunas, three gunas are needed. But one guna will be dominating in a person, followed by the other three gunas. If you do not have tamo guna, then you cannot sleep. So we will wake up. So you need tamo guna also, and you need sattvic guna also. And even in a worst ignorant person, there will be sattvic guna, but only in a little percentage, that's all. Now, how is this gunas decided? How can a person dominate in a sattvic guna or dominate in a rajo guna and followed by the other two gunas? How is it decided? Does the nature decide it? No. It is our own karmas. According to our past karmas, the past impressions in the mind, the gunas will automatically form in us. That becomes our nature. Suppose if I have been a sattvic person in the previous janma, in the last birth, then in this janma also I will have that tendency, sattvic guna, followed by rajasic and tamo guna. Suppose if I have been tamo nature in the previous janma, in the last janma, then in this janma also the tamo guna will dominate in me. So like that, the nature of the person is decided. So if a person has a rajasic guna, then he will always work according to that guna only. It is not easy for any other person, not even God, to change him just like that. But gradually he will change. So a jnani must have that understanding and a patience when he approaches an ignorant person. So that's a very strict advice Lord Krishna gives, and he emphasizes on this point again and again in this chapter. So here, Ajnani, what will he think? Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyati. So a person who is ignorant, he will think that I am doing this action, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, but all the time it is the mind, senses and the body which is the product of the Prakriti that is performing the action. The self is not performing any action, it's only a witness because it's all pervading, it's only a witness. But this is senses, mind, and all these are performing action, and that is due to the Prakriti. That is, it's because according to the nature of the guna, one performs the action. Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Tattvavita, that is the knower of the truth. Tattva means the truth, that is the jnana, that is this concept. Tattvavita means the knower of the truth, Mahabahu. Lord Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Mahabahu, that is the mighty armed Arjuna. Guna karma vibhagayoho. Guna karma vibhaga means a person who is wise or a person who is a jnani, he knows about the gunas and the division of the gunas and how the gunas will function. He has perfect knowledge about it. Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. A person who is wise, he knows that all these attractions are due to the sense and the mind. The sense organs and the mind, it is due to that, and that performs according to the Prakriti, that is the three gunas. So he knows all about all this, and even if he exists in between, in the middle of the gunas, he's not attached to it. He's not attracted by any sense objects. The mind itself is the group of impressions. The group of impressions, millions and millions of impressions, that group itself is said as the mind. On the mind stuff, all these impressions are embedded there, or just it exists there. So the group of impressions is said as the mind. So, and according to that is our senses and sense objects and our body, all that are designed according to that impressions. That impressions is our past karmas, which we carry over from the past birth. So, according to that, when the mind comes in contact with a sense object, according to that impression, we attract that object or we just reject that object. That is raga and dvesha. Raga means attraction and dvesha means just repulsion. And it has nothing to do with that sense object. It's with the impressions of our mind. Suppose if I like ice cream, I have past impressions of that in my mind. And so when I see that object, I get attracted to it, and I develop interest, and I just want to own it. Suppose if I had an past experience of taking that ice cream and getting cold or fever, then when I see that ice cream itself, I just reject it, dvesha. So it's not consider nothing to do with that object. It is the impressions of our mind. So then a person who is wise and jnani, he knows about all this. And raga and desha is mostly concerned with the rajoguna or the tamoguna. So he knows that his guna is in action and it is not the self that is performing. So he can be in the center of any sense objects or in the center of the world without being attached to it, because he knows that it is the gunas that is acting and he will use it accordingly. If he need it, he will use it, but he will not have a passion for it. That's what it actually means. Prakritir guna sammodhaha sajjante guna karmasu Tana kritsna vidho mandhan kritsna vinna vichalayet. Kritsnavid, that is the man of perfect knowledge, na vichalayet, should not unsettle the mind, that is of the ignorant person, whom guna sammudhaha. So a person who has perfect knowledge, he should not unsettle the mind of the person who is deluded by the gunas. So again and again, Lord Krishna emphasizes this point. A person who has perfect knowledge, that is a person who is wise, who knows about these gunas, he knows that it is the action of the gunas and not the action of the self. So let him not unsettle the mind of the person who is deluded by the gunas. Because a person who is ignorant, he does not know anything about the guna or its division or how these gunas work or how it functions. He doesn't know anything of it. So a person who has this knowledge should not go and unsettle the mind of the person who is ignorant. If he wants, he will come forward and accept this knowledge. Just come forward and eager to hear about it. Even if a person doesn't know about it in detail, he will have a person who is a sattvic in nature. He will have a liking for this knowledge. He will come forward and try to get this knowledge from somewhere or other. Even if he doesn't go to an ashram properly, in today's world, there are so many resources to get this knowledge. So he will have an anxiety to know about the gunas and how it works and what is karma yoga. He will come forward and receive this knowledge if he is of the sattvic nature. If not, let him be what he is. There is no rush for this knowledge. A person can work tirelessly, get the profit, be attached to the action. At one stage or other, he will have a liking for this karma yoga. Definitely, his mind will evolve, and he will see the people who are so free and unattached when they do any action as karma, as a yoga. So he will automatically change into that. He will automatically come to that path. So no need to rush for this knowledge. This knowledge should not be imposed or superimposed on anyone. That's what Lord Krishna means. The next verse, that is verse 30, it's a very important verse, and you can say this as the essence of Karma Yoga. Maye sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigadajwaraha. Very important verse, and this verse is again quoted in many bhashyas and in many works of other authors too. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Just renounce all the actions in me, Arjuna. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. Just renounce all the actions in me and you be free. All the time, engage yourself in this Atma Jnana, in the knowledge of the self, and be free of any action. Renounce all the action in me. What does Lord Krishna mean by that? How can we renounce all our action in the Lord? How can we do it? It's only the attitude of our mind. How can we renounce our action? It's the attitude of our mind. It's the thought of our mind. When we perform an action to the best of your knowledge, we can do only that we can do. Do that action. And after finishing it, oh Lord, I have done this according to my knowledge. I'm just keeping this all my action on your feet. And I am going to be relieved from it. I am not concerned about the result. I am not concerned about what happens after that. You just take care of everything. All the time, I'll be very free. I will engage myself in knowledge of the self. You just take care of it. That's how we renounce our action. And it's very important for today's children when they write the exam. After writing the exam, they will be always concerned about the result. They are just torturing themselves about thinking about the result continuously. So after writing the examination, just keep it on the feet of Lord Bhagavan Krishna. Oh Lord Krishna, I have written the exam to the best of my knowledge. What all I know, I have written that. Now you just take care of it. I'm not going to be concerned about it. Just leave it on the feet of Bhagavan Krishna. Krishnarpanam. Just do it and be free. Don't think about the result afterwards. Even if you think nothing is going to change, then why always thinking about this and torturing your mind? And some children, they torture others also, just to disturb the whole family, telling about this again and again. So just be free. But here Lord Krishna is telling, just renounce all your action in my feet and you be established in this Atma Vidya, in the knowledge of the self. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. That is, nirashir, without any desire. Perform the action, just renounce it on the feet of Bhagavan Krishna. Without any desire for the result. Just be like that. Nirmama, I have done this. See, I have written the examination, so it is my responsibility to look after the result. Just don't be like that. Nirmama, just disown it afterwards. It is not mine anymore. It's the work of Lord Krishna. Nirahankara nirmama, nirashir nirmama, yudhyasva vigadajvaraha. Now you go to this battle, Arjuna. Lord Krishna is telling. Vigadajvara means that is the mental fever. That is these thoughts, they just disturb us and sometimes we think about it and we just cannot control it. That is that Vigadajvara. Now don't think about too much about all this. Just renounce all the action in me and you be free. And all the time let your mind be centered in the self. Centered in the self doesn't mean always I have to think that I am that Atma, not that, but you have to be aware of this knowledge. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavando nasuyantaha muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Matam means this teaching, this knowledge. Anutishtanti, a person whoever follows this now knowledge. When? Is it occasionally? No, nitya. A person who perform this action, any action according to this knowledge. Shraddhavan, with faith and devotion to this teaching. Anusuyantah. Anusuyantah means do not criticize this teaching or do not object to it, because there is nothing to object or criticize in this teaching. Because why do we criticize something? We do not know about it, or they do not perform it according to our likes, and we think that our knowledge is supreme. And so when a person doesn't perform an action according to our thought, according to our decision, we criticize them. So all the time we are thinking that I am perfect, only what I say is right. But this is the knowledge of the self. No one can deny it. If we want, we can analyze and do manana on it. But do not criticize it. Sanatana Dharma gives full freedom for analyzing the knowledge, but if you cannot accept it, do not criticize it, because the problem is not with the teaching, it's only with our mentality. Our mind would not have been so matured or so advanced to accept this knowledge. If you cannot accept, just leave it. Just like what Lord Krishna said. And do the karmas according to the action, attachment to the action. In due course, we will automatically change. But do not criticize this knowledge or object this knowledge. Shraddhavan, without anasuyanta, do not object or criticize it. Muchyante te abhi karma. He is free from all the karmas because he has renounced all the karmas in me. And that gives us an enthusiasm to take up any job, any adventurous job, or any risk, or anything we like to take, because we do that action and just we renounce it on the path of Bhagavan Krishna. We are not concerned about the result afterward, because it is the result that give pain to our mind. That is the misery. So that Lord Krishna is telling, I take that responsibility, give everything to me and you be free, and always, all the time, be centered. Let your mind be centered in the self. Ye tve tadabhyasu yantaha nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudham sthan vidhi nasthana chetasaha. So a person who doesn't follow this knowledge, what will happen to him? In spite of all the knowledge he may have except this, but that will only confuse him. And by that confusion, he will be devoid of any discrimination, and by that way he will reign. And it is very true in this today's world, the world of robotics and artificial intelligence. We have so much knowledge. It's not difficult to get information or knowledge in today's world, in this digital world. We just get everything in the click of the mouse. So lots and lots of information, load and load of information are just pumped into our mind automatically, especially the children, the teenagers and the children. They know about everything. In the ancient period, not even the ancient period, some few years back, that is some 30 or 40 years back, people then, they had very little information, but lot of wisdom. So they just lived perfectly, happily. They were able to lead their life. But the problem is today's world is, we have a lot of information, loads and loads of information, but with little wisdom. And because of that, we are not able to discriminate between anything, what is right or what is wrong. It's very difficult for us to judge. Just take about the information about our health issues. There are lots of information and we accept everything and we imagine all that will happen to us, and we are all the time, we are totally confused. Many children are affected by this. The video games, whatever is not there in today's lifetime, everything is there, but in spite of this, we do not have wisdom. That's the point there. We do not have the power of discrimination. When a lot of information come to our mind, we do not have the power to assimilate it. And the result of that is wrong understanding, assuming everything will happen to us, totally confused. Bhagavan Krishna is just right. Devoid of that discriminatory power, we are totally confused. And the result of that is we are always in fear. We do not have that confidence to venture into anything. We are so scared of it because lot of information they give, so negative informations also. So the nature of the mind is to accept immediately what something negative. That's the nature of the mind. When a positive and negative is there, we will accept only the negative. We don't go after that positive. That's the nature of the mind. So many people are affected by it. They are not able to select it. Just to take the field of education. So many fields are there. So that's the problem of today's world. We have a lot of information, but we are devoid of discrimination. And as a result, we lose our self-confidence. That is the important thing there. In spite of all this knowledge, we must have a self-confidence, isn't it? But just take the outside world. See, the person who have a lot of knowledge, they will not have self-confidence. They just fear to do anything and everything. They are not. They have anxiety, but they do not have confidence. That's the problem of today's world, and that is very rightly said by Lord Krishna even 5,000 years back. A person who does not accept this teaching and who do not practice this Atma Vidya or any action as the Karma Yoga, and he is devoid of discrimination, and he is doomed to destruction. Sadrisham cheshthate swasyaha prakritirjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. And Lord Krishna also says, all these are the result of the nature. The gunas, they perform the action, and according to the nature of that guna, the action is performed. And even a jnani or a person who is wise, he is not an exemption from this. Then how can a person control the senses? And how can a person control these gunas? Even a jnani performs his work according to his nature. That's why we will say, a person may be very arrogant or aggressive, and then we will say, oh, it's his nature, but he is a nice person. But it is his nature to be so aggressive. And we will say that when a person does a lot of mistakes and when they forget everything, we'll say it's his nature, but actually he's a very nice person. So that's what Lord Krishna says. Any person will act according to his guna only. Even a wise person, he acts according to his guna. Then how to control these gunas? How to come over these gunas? That Lord Krishna explains in the next verse, that is the verse 34. But for now, I take a break and I explain the rest of the verses of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita in my next video. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिः ध्रुवा नेतिर्मतिर्मम। ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।